another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast. Just want to let you know, for the latest Pop Culture Cosmos coming up for most people on Monday, you're covering the week box office debut of Novocaine and the box office state overall. Speaking of states, how is the Electric State being received? We'll talk about that. Plus also as well, Amazon Prime Video. Are you watching Amazon Prime Video? Because you got Reacher doing great success. You've got Invincible just closing out season 3. You also got The Wheel of Time doing season 3. They just start up. Are you catching Amazon Prime Video? And also as well, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Is Assassin's Creed Shadow going to be a hit? And also as well, will Assassin's Creed Shadows bring back the good name of Ubisoft? Those are the things we talk about on the Pop Culture Cosmos this week. Go ahead and check it out on Monday when we drop it. For everyone out there, wherever you get your podcasts. And for you Lakers Fast Break members, I will drop a sneak preview video before it hits on the Pop Culture Cosmos YouTube here in a little bit as well. Plus also as well, John Costas here, Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. He is the mastermind. And I know he was a little bit in and out like I was for playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, but he is always there at Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. Please subscribe today to get the latest notification on when he does anything, whether it's a short, whether it's a full video, or his daily updates right there for you at Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk. Of course, Joe Soros here as well. Got to go ahead and check him out today at LakersBall.com. It's Ox9247. Of course, his awesome video game that he has out there. I want to go ahead and catch Corrupt, Coreupt on Steam. And then, of course, what he's doing with his company, Simblades. Simblades with a Y.com. Our good friends, the Lakerholics. I do apologize for the Lakerholics. They had a scheduling snafu, so they weren't able to go ahead and record on Saturday. And I apologize. None of us could really get our schedules worked out later that evening to come on later that night.
What they didn't have their Ovaltine that morning?
Pretty much, I think that was the case. Yes. Well, again, check out what those old cranky guys who are now happy that the Lakers won are saying at Lakerholics.com. Our good friends, of course, as well. Legend 350, Alfred Esmond. He's got to be happy because his Orlando Magic beat Cleveland in Cleveland today. That was a surprise right there for you. And also as well, Stone Hansen covering the NBA draft. All these great people, all these great places. Empire Jeff covering the Lakers and Dodgers. And, of course, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Yo! Go ahead and support all these great people, all these great places, all these great things, but make sure you go ahead and give us also as well the like and subscribe. Subscribe today to get the latest notifications when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break. And then, of course, become a member today. Subscribe. Go ahead, become a member. Do all that good stuff. $2.99 a month. And last but not least, Selection Sunday is here for college basketball. March Madness is right around the corner. You have got to be a part of our free ESPN Tournament Challenge group. The information will be down below. I will post it in the chat. I will put it up here on the screen here in a second. You must be part of the Lakers Fast Break podcast group. I will keep updating everyone on the results here live, what we could do from time to time. But yes, please be a part of what we're doing. All this good stuff right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Well, the Lakers limped in to Los Angeles, but getting some good news. As reported by Shams Charania, first off, LeBron James worked out for the first time since the injury. They had showcased him today. He looks like he may be back in a week, which again was around the 1 to 2 week period. That's the tail end. He is 40 and he's probably going to go ahead and err on the side of caution. So it looks like he'll be back in about a week. Great news there. Rui Hachimura has been upgraded to a day-to-day status, so he could be around the corner as well. But the Lakers got an infusion of talent with Jaxson Hayes, DFS, Gabe Vincent, although his shot didn't come back with him. Gabe Vincent, and then also as well, of course, one Luka Doncic came back to the lineup today. And boy, was it needed as the Lakers faced off against the Phoenix Suns, the failing Phoenix Suns, the huge salary structured Phoenix Suns. What would happen with the Lakers getting a lot of bodies back in the rotation? Well, from the get-go, this was a game that was dominated by the Lakers. Their defense set the tone early on, limiting the Phoenix Suns to 37 points in the first half. And really, it never got too close. I think 8 points was the smallest deficit. From there on out, the Lakers kept a nice, comfortable buffer the rest of the way through and eased their way back into the win column with a 107-96 victory. Today, it was all about Luka Doncic, 33 points, 8 assists, 11 rebounds, and of course, Austin Reeves, now playing after that great game in Denver, bookending that with a 28-point, 6 assists game of his own. Jaxson Hayes coming back to the lineup. Man, we needed some height in there. Great on the pick and roll once again. 8 of 10 shooting, 19 points overall. DFS finally got it a little bit around in the second half with 10 points himself. And the Lakers get the victory 107-96. They're now 41-25. They're still 5th place in the Western Conference. But as Joe would tell you, look at the loss column because teams 2nd through 5th are all tied in the loss column. So Lakers just got to catch up on some games. And here today to go ahead and discuss today's game. Great guys indeed. First up, first man here. It is the Lakers Halo man. It is, of course, the guy behind Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk. It is, of course, John Costa. John, great to have you here. Got a smile. It feels good. We're not going at people. We're not saying, just hang on, blah, 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 blah. Lakers get the victory. All is right in the world once again.
All is right in the world, absolutely. And before I get into just this game and all, some of my early thoughts, I want to give a shout out to Raphael 562. So I'm gonna give him a shout out because he said, "John, light the Lakers won." And I'm gonna start a new tradition. Okay, so starting today, guys, every time the Lakers win, it's gonna be like lighting the beam, but it's gonna be better than lighting the beam. I'm gonna be lighting the Lakers L every time we get a W. So just gonna put that out there, man. I know I'm here for almost
on your shorts too. You should do that on your shorts. Ding.
Yes, every single time we get a win, just boom, put it on there, and I'm gonna be rocking it, man. So shout out to you for that because we just started a tradition here for years to come. But about this game, man, when we were missing Hayes and Luka, I was like, wow, like our offense is gonna be so limited. Our offense is gonna be so restricted because like not only do they score so many points and create offense dumb to, but just the threat of Hayes rolling to the hoop every single time, just the threat of Luka, playing at an angle and getting defenders on his hip, just the threat of that, like that creates open shots and creates open looks for everybody else. And like, man, getting Hayes back, getting Luka back was just, and you could see the immediate impact that they had. I mean, we went on that early 13 to 9 run in the game. It was insane in that first quarter when Luka scored 13 straight points, like of his own. Like, I don't know, Luka just got a vendetta against against the Phoenix Suns and Devin Booker. But honestly, to be real, like about this game, this was a great game from top to bottom. I think the biggest drop off was that third quarter. But we responded, got punched in the mouth, responded, punched them in the mouth, freaking put our foot down their throat and ended the boys, man. Shout out Dorian Finney-Smith came back. He started off really bad, really slow, but proved to get some crucial buckets there in the fourth quarter. He had that corner three that really kind of probably put the dagger in it, but then what really put the dagger in is that little tip in three. I mean, that little tip in that he had on the right side. And hey, man, we got the win. Hayes, one of his best games, honestly. And I also, the last thing I'll say, and then I'll pass it over to Joe, is I think Jaxson Hayes is like starting to put it together, but it's also starting to make more sense up here. Like you could just see the way he's playing. Like it's just starting to mentally make more sense for him. He's getting that many reps. So it's great to see it, man. It's great to see. Great to be here too.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is John Costa along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching. Listen, the Lakers comfortable victory, 107-96. It never really got close. 8 points was the closest it really got. Again, the Lakers seemingly put it on a Sunday afternoon cruise and Sunday afternoon drive, especially in that second half after a great first quarter. And here today to go ahead and discuss what went right and what's upcoming. Good man indeed. It is, of course, the guy behind the Simblades, simbladeswithany.com, and, of course, Ox9247, and, of course, his game on Steam, Corrupt, C-O-R-E-U-P-T. It is Joe Soro. Joe, great to have you here. Again, we're not at each other's throats. We're not at the throats of our audience. Everything is all right in the world because the Lakers get the victory. Much-needed infusion of talent, much-needed infusion of height and defense. And my, how things changed, Joe.
They have to win the next 4 games to have a shot at the number 2. That means all 4 of their home games left. Tomorrow, I'm going to take a shot that Luka's still going to play, and then they're going to have a day rest, and they're going to play Denver and then Milwaukee again. I'd like to serve some revenge pie in those 2 games, and I'm hoping that Luka can do what he was doing tonight to those guys because I think they need it. And then after that, they are facing Chicago before they go on a four-game road trip to Orlando, Indiana, Chicago, and Memphis, which is a weird zigzag schedule on the road before they have to come back for another 3-game homestand. So essentially, they're running into this long road trip, long home trip, long road trip, sort of long home trip, and then the final 4 out of 5 they're going to be on the road, and 2 of those road games are in Oklahoma City. 1 is in Dallas. I'm going to say it's probably possible that AD will be back for that. So that'll be a huge game in Dallas with Luka coming back. Definitely good TV for sure. And I'm going to choose Luka in terms of maybe a little bit more oomph in his step for that one. So the Lakers got to take every win they can get. This one was something, even though Phoenix could have been a problem tonight. Looked like the Lakers handled them pretty well. Got to win tomorrow. And then Denver, Milwaukee. If you had to win one on those, you'll take it, and then you got to close out Chicago. You go 4-1 in this homestand with kind of the way the roster is. I think you kind of take that, but then you got to win those games you're supposed to win on the road: Chicago, Orlando, Indiana. I think you got to win those games. You got to win every game, but you got to keep it 4-1, 3-1 if you're going to play these stretches. You got to make sure you're winning a hell of a lot more than you're losing. And I'm not talking about winning 3 out of 5. I'm talking you have to start winning 4 out of 5, 5 out of 6 type games. Looking at the schedule, I'm assuming. So they're saying maybe next week. So does he come back for the Milwaukee game? LeBron? Because that is 4 days from, 4 days from now. That's Thursday. Or does he wait till Saturday?
I think Saturday.
I was going to say probably Saturday game. I ain't going to lie.
Okay, so he gets his beak wet a little bit Saturday before they go on that 4-game road trip?
Yeah.
Okay. Can the Lakers beat Milwaukee and Denver without LeBron at home?
Absolutely can. With Luka Doncic and Jaxson Hayes. And the supporting cast playing the role.
If Rui comes back, I think that provides another body.
It looks like the Rui is worse off than LeBron still at this point. Am I wrong? Or
he was listed as day-to-day, was according to what was said during the broadcast. But then again, they could be wrong on that. So you might be right. It might be after LeBron on that. But yeah, it was reported that he's listed as day-to-day, which again, you and I know, as we've seen, especially from our time understanding MLB, that day-to-day can last weeks.
So one of the things I'd like the team to work on a little bit is you have Luka. That first of all, Jaxson Hayes and his agent are going to be kissing Luka's feet at the end of the year. By the way, just so you know, Jaxson Hayes went from an absolute dud to an absolute stud here since Luka has arrived, and it's not just Luka; it's through osmosis or something, man. Now you have Reeves running pick and rolls with Jaxson Hayes, and he's converting. I mean, come on. When was the last time you saw consistent 19-point games from Jaxson Hayes?
Yeah.
And he feels very comfortable. There's only one thing that the Lakers need to stop doing. I know that I know that Jaxson Hayes and I know Koloko are tall guys, but can you get it at least 10 and a half, 11 at the most, not 12? A lot of those lobs were way too high. So work on those subtleties, and those things will get finished much, much quicker. I'd say that was probably the only thing that I noticed in this game. And I know that has to do a lot of timing. Obviously, you have somebody that's guarding you. You want to make sure you're not getting it blocked. I get that. But I would say that's probably something you want to work on. I know you don't practice a lot, but I would run those sets the days that you are during warm-ups, maybe not warm-ups, but if you can get into the gym, I know you're doing back-to-backs, but the second you get a day off or a couple of days off, kind of work on that so that by the time playoffs come, that doesn't become a problem. But that's the only thing that was kind of driving me nuts today is they were throwing the ball way too high for a lot of these guys that they couldn't really get the ball in the hoop.
Talking about something that kind of concerns you down the road, Jaxson Hayes' free throws, like, and I said this in playback, he's gonna go to the line a lot. Like, let's understand this. He's gonna get fouled a lot. They might even start the hack a Hayes if it really goes bad like that. But I think that, free throw shooting, and this is one of the reasons why I never had any sympathy for that excuse of a basketball player, Ben Simmons, because it's like, man, you mean to tell me you can't shoot? You're in the fucking NBA. You have no other responsibility. It's not like you work a second job. This is all you fucking do. You mean to tell me you cannot get in the gym and figure out how to shoot? I played basketball. I understand that shooting is all repetition. And if you can't shoot, that means that you simply are not putting in that repetition. You are not putting in that work. The only like caveat I don't think that regular people recognize with big men that don't shoot well is how massively fucking big their hands are. It's like sometimes like it tries shooting a tennis ball, right? I mean, it's not as small as what a tennis ball is to us, but it's like try shooting a really small ball. Sometimes it may be a little hard, but again, I am not feeling no type of sympathy because, bro, you have 10 hours, 15 hours a day. You have all this time in your day to get it in and become a good free throw shooter. Figure that shit out.
He's
John,
a 70. Well, just wanted to say he's a 70%, 73 for this year. He's 71 for his career, so he's okay.
He's okay, but hold on. Before you say that, Joe, really quick, numbers are not black and white though, Gerald. So let me ask you this: if somebody put Jaxson Hayes at the free throw line and said, Gerald, your house is on the line.
Oh, at clutch moments, yeah, obviously you got to be concerned. But then again, AD was, at one time led the Lakers in free throw shooting, or was one of the best free throw shooters, and we all know how that went a lot of times during clutch moments.
It's a mental thing.
It is.
Uncle Jerome, I remember hearing a lot. That's Shaq's bodyguard. He would say Shaq would make his free throws in practice, but when it came to the game, there was a mental block. Free throws are a mental block in my view.
Yeah,
not my view.
Natalia's so funny. She's like, because she is not on the Denver. She hasn't been for weeks. It's so funny. I didn't mean to interrupt you guys, but she said, "Can people stop calling Denver contenders? They just lost to the Wizards," because they did. They lost to the Wizards after they played the Lakers. And he said they just lost the Wizards fully healthy. We would actually sweep Denver. I don't know if I want to go that far on sweeping Denver, but yeah, I just, again,
if you're irritated with Denver, I'll let you roll with that comment, but not saying that they're not contenders is, I don't know. They're contenders. They have the MVP in my book on their team, And whether they're going to win it or not, probably not. Not the way they're playing. And that has a lot to do with a lot of things. And we've talked about that a few times, where there's this habit when you see a team win a championship, everyone assumes that this team is going to be there for a while. It's not always the case, and it hasn't really been the case for what will be soon, 9 years? No, less than 9 years. The Golden State Warriors won back-to-back titles in 17 and 18. And even the 18 championship was almost a loss. They almost lost. They were down 3-2 against Houston. Then Chris Paul hurt himself in Game 6, and James Harden, who one of our Dunskies on the chat mentioned possibly being even with Kobe on the offensive end. He couldn't close anything. He couldn't close shit when it mattered. I can see Kobe winning a game by himself in a game of that. When did Kobe really ever lose with a team that was a contender when he was up? He never did. Matter of fact, he's undefeated when he wins Game 1, let alone going up 3-2. The only series he lost up 3-2 was the 06 team that lost the lead. They were up 3-1 and lost to Phoenix, and that was. I'll never forget Game 6. Tim Thomas hits that 3 to go in overtime and win the game. Phoenix does, because Mr. Kwame Brown decided that he didn't want to go after a basketball and rebound it. That's where a lot of my hate for Kwame Brown comes from too, by the way.
We now know the source.
Can I hop in here really quick?
No, you can't. I'm not done yet.
Oh, all right.
All
right. I speak the truth. My dog showing out, always pulling up here, always dropping some good questions. He said, if you guys are ready to, I guess to move on from that topic, he said a good question for the panel. Is it fair to say that at this point, everyone under OKC is playing with house money? So I don't know if you guys want to take that, but I
don't know about that, because again, not everybody is sold on OKC as a top flight contender. I mean, I am, but I'm not. I listen and I see and I hear and I understand that they have to prove it. They have to go out and prove it, and a second round loss to Dallas is not going to prove it to anyone out there. So I don't think they're playing with house money. I speak the truth. I think all these teams in the top 5 feel that they can beat OKC in a 7. I think even Minnesota and Golden State think they can beat OKC in a 7-game series, or at least they can play well and compete in a 7-game series. So I don't think they're all playing with house money. I think they're all thinking that they feel that they have a chance because OKC does not, in their minds, feel that they have the full experience of a top flight team.
That's real. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna ask a follow-up question to I speak the truth. I was gonna say, well, like house money. So are you thinking that OKC is gonna clearly take the West? Because I don't clearly think they would take the West there. So I'm right there in alliance with you, Gerald. And also, I speak the truth said that Natalia got to get off the weed because he said no way we sweep Denver.
Well, Natalia says they have the 28th ranked defense. I'll have to look that up. I know she said that for the past few days, how bad their defense is overall. And she says it can't get better. They don't have the personnel. And Jokic and Malone said they have no hope in this team. I don't know if you're taking them particular. That could be just them, trying to psych themselves up after a loss against Washington. We have our losses against Charlotte and Utah. That we went out there and laid an egg on, Joe. I mean, these teams lose focus at various points of time in the season. That doesn't mean you don't have belief in your team. And they might have just been saying that just for BS and show and whatnot. But you cannot tell me, you cannot tell me you have either the number 1 or number 2 candidate for MVP. You have Murray that's healthy and capable of going off for 30. And not tell me you don't have a chance to make a run in the playoffs. Respectfully to all the Denver fans out there.
It's not something we haven't seen in any sport. You win a championship, your hunger lessens unless you are someone who is obsessively unhappy.
I'm just saying, Joe. I'm not going to take them for granted.
There's nothing. Even the year they won the championship, they weren't. They kind of scaled back during the year, and it ended up benefiting them, and they ended up going on a run that was rather dominant.
Honestly, they lost everything. The second they let Bruce Brown walk, and I understand you can't pay everybody. Bruce Brown wants to go get his bag. That is where I was like, their championship. Any championship aspiration that they had is out the window. You go watch that championship run. Bruce Brown that year, I was saying it all year long, which is why you guys should check out my page. Bruce Brown is the ultimate and by far best role player in the NBA that year. Man was playing backup to Jamal Murray when Jamal Murray was out. He was running the guard. He was guarding bigs. He was playing backup to Jokic. He would literally be the big man setting the pick on some pick and rolls. He was the ultimate glue guy. And when they let him go, which again, I get it, he went to go get a bag. And KCP too. Sports Baby said it right. KCP too. Those two guys. And then when KCP walked the following year, it was really over. So yeah, no, it's been done for the Nuggets. But like to Gerald's point, when you have Jokic, you have a league MVP. You always got a chance.
I mean, Natalia's dismissing them, because she's giving us every reason why that we should be confident that the Denver Nuggets are not going to go anywhere in the playoffs. I just can't get behind that. I just can't take them for granted. Whether or not you think they're going to go to the conference finals or the finals, that's up to you guys. But I am just not going to take them for granted because they have repeatedly beaten us in recent years, and until we beat them in a series or they lose and we advance, I'm not going to take them for granted, guys. It's just that simple. I'm like you said, Joe and John, MVP. He's probably going to be MVP right now. If he stays in second, if the Denver Nuggets stay in second place in the Western Conference, he will be the MVP once again, and you can't deny that.
Yeah.
Well, you have a point there, Natalia. We did almost beat them with Bronny James. You have a point there.
It wasn't Bronny James. He actually, if he hits that corner three, that game might have changed. And
yes,
that's not the fact that you're bringing him up in that game is
Natalia
worse.
Natalia did, yeah. So
they were up 3 with 53 goddamn seconds left. All they had to do was hold them just one more possession. Instead, they have Jokic sitting there playing with his asshole under the basket for 10 minutes. Like, really? That's and then you foul him the boot. I don't. The NBA, sports in general, everything about people. The NBA is no different. These guys are all born they're all John's age, basically, right? Except for a few guys. So these guys didn't grow up with a little bit more of having to get things done. Everything's been kind of easy for them. They've had the internet. They've been through a generation of pussies that have been trying to tell everybody. I'm not trying to degrade people that were born after 2000, but this is what's happened.
I was 1999.
Whatever. And when as things progress, things always get easier, right? You don't have to go hunt for your food anymore. Now you can go to the grocery store, and you don't have to go to the library anymore because you can just sit in the toilet and look at your phone and find out what's going on. Soon there'll be AI. Soon you don't even need anyone to be at work because you'll have some artificial shithole that's creating 8 fingers telling you what to do. Like, the amount of pussies and amount of weaklings that are going to be created here in the next God knows how many years, it's not going to, just because these guys are basketball players getting paid millions of dollars, you think it's going to get better? No, it's going to get worse because these are entitled people. These guys had their ass kissed almost their entire lives, but yet some of them will still create rift that they're not getting what they want because they're babies. So now how do you explain this? Why is this guy not playing well, or why is this team not playing well? It's the person. Once you're satisfied, most people, when they're satisfied, don't play as hard. Bruce Brown is a good example. He Eric Dampiered his career. That was an Eric Dampier contract year. You all remember Eric Dampier? Eric Dampier almost won the rebounding title in the 2000s one year when he was he was going into his last season. Got a big contract, turned into complete trash after that. So that's why it's scary to, you got to be you got to be weary of the contract year player. And then you factor in beyond that, you factor in guys that have already won the championship. And then a lot of those guys like Michael Porter Jr., well, he got his money before he won the title, but Jamal Murray got his money, right? So what's going on with him? Is he's supposed to be the 1A on that team, right? But sometimes he shows up. The only time that fucker shows up is when he has to hit a last-second shot against the Lakers. So what you got to do to play Denver is you got to beat their ass like they did the last time in Denver so that you don't give him a chance to do that because that's the only time he shows up. And that's always been the case. There's always been a player out there that's been a nuisance to the Lakers. He seems to be the nuisance now. But that got covered up when they lost to Washington. So fuck him and fuck Denver. So you got to, as a coach, NBA has always been a bitch league anyways. It's the players have always run coaches out. This is not anything new. It's just worse now. So what do? You saw Kevin Durant kind of sort of getting loud with Budenholzer on the sidelines in the first quarter. That's, I guess sometimes that's something that has to happen. Grown men do that, get upset. It's a sport. There's competition. But what's going to happen there is then he's going to go get one of his burner accounts, go sit on some stool in the backyard and cry about it, and then tell him, oh, well, we need another coach. How many coaches and how many teams is Kevin Durant going to go to or play for until he gets what he wants? Those are all the things that have been created with all this. Denver sucks, or Denver's not as good as they used to be. Denver's just one team of many that have done things like this in all sports. They don't think like a Tom Brady. They don't think like LeBron or Kobe or any of these guys. That's why those guys are who they are. So I think in the end, looking at Oklahoma City, as far as them maybe scaling back a little bit, that could be true. But should they be scaling back? They've already played really well the last two seasons, and they've hit the shitter. Do you think that they should be scaling back, or they should be making sure they make a run here so they don't choke up again in the second or third round? Just something to factor in there. And see, that's the thing. See, this is the other thing. The whole LeBron SAS thing, Stephen A. Smith thing, it's still lingering here and there, right? People are still talking about it. What my advice to players and media types, I don't know, are we considered media now?
I guess
is that what we are?
I guess I would. Okay, yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, so but see, I don't have to answer to anyone, so I don't know if that matters. I don't know if somebody told Stephen A. Hey man, you should go ride this because you'll get a lot of pub. No one likes Stephen A. Smith apparently, right? Why do you get $100 million contract then? Is it because he's got that heel effect? People still listen to him because he's the heel?
Well, it's the car crash. It's like us sometimes when people just can't stand what we have to say, but they can't stop watching.
Okay. Does Stephen A. Smith watch the games? He said that he goes to 120 basketball games a year. Is that
no
true?
Fucking way he watches the game. I mean, he probably goes to that many games, but he's not really watching all the rest.
I really watch. Okay. So I want to know because I'm trying to gather this together. I know I watch the games. I can prove it.
We're here,
right?
We're here.
Right? So what happens? What kind of conversation are you going to have with, let's say, a media type like that in having a conversation about basketball? Is he going to know what we're talking about? He should, right? I mean, he's kind of sort of a basketball guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith?
Yeah. Yeah. I supposedly played in college.
Okay. Do we have to play in college to be given credibility?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay. Because I've heard Charles Barkley, that moron. Okay. This is a Hall of Fame guy cracking on Kendrick Perkins because he wasn't a good enough NBA player. Where does it stop? Do you have to be Michael Jordan to be credible?
No, absolutely not. You just have to have, I think, knowledge on the game, and you have to be able to back up what you're saying.
I think that's an easy answer, and that you're probably correct, but that's not how the masses look at it.
Agreed.
As soon as they get defensive, here's what's going to happen. And it's happened on here on occasion, not a lot, but it has. Oh, you don't know anything about basketball. I don't know anything about basketball. What does that mean when you say I don't know anything about basketball? Is it because my interpretation of what I saw isn't what you agree with?
Wow, great point, Joe. It happens all the time. It's so annoying.
Right? That's what it is.
And it's really annoying when NBA players like Shaq and Charles Barkley, like when Shaq says like, "Oh, you don't have G16 certification." It's like, Shaq, dude, just because people didn't win that many championships as you does not mean they don't know basketball like you know basketball, dog. But sorry to interrupt you, Joe. Go ahead.
No, I'm almost done, and then you can answer Natalia's question. My thing is, I want a concise response from whomever down the road. I want to plant this seed now. If somebody comes up to us and says, "Who the hell are these schmucks that nobody knows?" Are they saying that because we are a bunch of schmucks that nobody knows, or is it just being defensive on what we're saying? I made a point about Luka and his ability to deal with press coverage. Is that something that I interpreted in my own head?
You saw it.
Right? Okay, so press coverage, we all know what that is, right? We've known that I've known that my entire life watching basketball.
Full court press.
Full court, that's essentially how you stop. If you let Luka just kind of come up nonchalant, you're toast, right out of the gate. So you have to press that guy and make him feel uncomfortable. Is Charles Barkley going to come back at me, or Stephen A. Smith, or any of these schmucks going to come back at us and say we don't know what we're talking about? Because if they did, you want to talk about barbecue chicken? I'm going to barbecue chicken Chucky and Stephen A. Smith at that point. Like, what do you mean I don't know what I'm talking about? Put up the fucking thing. Put it on the fucking monitor. Tell me what I'm saying right now isn't correct. What is who I am and where I come from and whether I played in the NBA have anything to do with the fact that you're seeing something on TV going on, and I'm telling you what's going on. That stuff right there is something I want to plant early right now. I'm not coming on here to bullshit. I'm telling you what I'm seeing. Opinion stuff doesn't matter, like the whole Kobe discussion. I mean, I can go on and on that. You're still going to believe what you want, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, we can get some good banter going. That's all it is. Doesn't mean anything at the end. Although most of the people's backing on that is pretty shitty too. By the way, I mean, how many 11-time first-team All-NBA players have there been in the NBA? And if you look at the list, there's like 7 of them, and they're all all-time greats, right? So I'm planting the seed. And that's what I'm doing right now, and that's kind of my button on that.
Once again, well, I was just gonna say, let me set you up here just like John. Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. It is, of course, John Costa and of course Joe Soro. Lakers win 107-96. They are now 41-25, still 5th place in the Western Conference. John, if you wanted to touch on that, absolutely. But I know that Natalia had a question specifically for you.
Yes.
She wanted to ask Reeves or Levine, and then touch on whatever you want to with the Stephen A. comments by Joe as well.
Yeah. Reeves or Levine. So I think that if they played one-on-one, I'd take Zach LaVine every single day of the week, even on a Sunday. But good thing we're not playing one-on-one. We're playing 5-on-5. We're playing a team game. We're playing in a team game. It takes, the right type of fit. It takes chemistry. It takes the right attitude. And I'm not saying that Zach LaVine doesn't have the right attitude and all that, but I just don't think he is as much of a team player as Austin Reeves is. So if you're just asking me who's a better individual player, who's a better hooper, I think Zach LaVine. He's insane. But if you're telling me who's a better fit on this Lakers team and who would I'd rather see, I'd much rather see AR on this Lakers team than Zach LaVine. Let me see. Somebody said I look like Monte Ellis. That's crazy. I've never got Monte. I've gotten a lot of play. I've gotten Curry. I've gotten Zach LaVine, but I've never got Monte.
Man, if you could score like him in today's
you need
NBA?
to go back to that old the other angle. This angle is not working.
All right. All right, really, Joe? That's crazy.
No, yeah.
All right, let me see them here. I just can't believe it. I can't believe
There you go. Yeah, that's
like
better.
this.
All you got to do
you
is
go.
shift a little bit to the point where we can see the L in the background
like-
without your head covering it. Yeah.
So like shift the L more.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll shift the L more for next time. Okay,
This-
man.
now you look like you're in a studio.
I can't believe you guys like this. That's crazy. But I'm not even looking at you. Like, my
But somebody
camera-
still thinks you look like Monte Ellis.
No, he looks nothing like Monte Ellis just because people
Just
people
telling you
fall
what
in that
somebody in the
people fall in that light skin shit and they think
Yeah.
you look like everybody. That's bullshit.
That's crazy.
You
Yeah,
look nothing like Dante Ellis.
that's
nothing.
BC. It's funny how you say look nothing like Curry. I agree, but I literally just yesterday had somebody randomly stop me at the store and say, "Wow, has anybody told you look just like Stephen Curry?" I'm like, really? That's crazy that you say that because I've gotten that, but I don't see it. You know who I really look like? I think I've said this before on here, but if you ever seen the movie ATL, T.I.'s little brother in ATL, I think his name's Evan Ross. He's an actor. People say I really look like him, but man, I can't believe you guys like. So you guys don't think it's throwing you off because like I'm staring at my monitor. This is not throwing you guys off at all.
No.
No.
Okay, I might.
It doesn't matter where you look, as long
Just
as we can
matters
hear
like-
you.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. I mean, if
Because
you guys-
no one looks. I mean, how weird would that be if I talk to y'all like this? So, guys. you like the
Okay,
game
I
today?
guess you're right. Did
you like the game today? I like the game today.
I guess you're right.
See how weird that is?
Alan, I will go 10. I used to be
Jared used to tilt to the left.
Tilts
Joe's
anyway, I damn
angle
well want to.
Not his dick. I'm talking about the camera.
What the fuck?
I'm not even gonna-
Dirty mind, man. What the hell's the matter with you? That's funny, Joker and Sorrow fans.
That's so funny. I look like Obama? That's insane, Alan.
See,
Can we
light
go back-
skin shit, man. Stop doing that. He looks nothing like Obama.
I feel like that's just at this
See,
point-
Sam, see, it is ick. You know what's great about that is when you have conversations with people who don't know you and you
Mhm.
look at them in the face while they're talking, and don't do this while they're saying stuff. Just keep looking at them. And they get really uncomfortable. It's hilarious. They start fidgeting. I'm like, I'm staring at. Isn't that a respect thing? You stare at somebody while they're talking,
Yes.
and I don't like people when they're like,
So you just want them to stay.
I just sit there and I'm like, well, you know, that's a good point, and maybe we should address that.
Oh my goodness, Homelander #1. AR would smoke exactly. That's insane. Smoke Zach Levine. I'm guessing you have not watched much Zach Levine.
Yeah. John looks like Jaxson Hayes. Yeah, that's a good one. Too.
John looks like Jackson. Gerald looks like JJ Redick. That's hilarious. He said Zach Levine can't handle. Yeah, that's crazy, brother. Yeah, it doesn't seem like you've watched much Zach Levine. But maybe you have.
Okay,
Maybe you have.
Sinbad makes sense. Yes, there's a little bit of Sinbad in there. Yes, that's a good one.
I'll
Yes.
take.
Weren't we talking about a game, guys?
Well, your shirt looks like it says dong.
It does look like it says.
It
Dom.
says Pog. It's
I
a
know.
team.
Jingle all the way. Jingle all the way. One of the worst movies I've ever watched that I love watching over and over again. Jingle all the way.
2-on-2, bro. Come on, that's not even a question. 2-on-2, Kobe or Shaq or Luka or LeBron. Absolutely, Kobe or Shaq. Come on, y'all.
Jeez.
Yeah, 2-on-2 is a game that like Luka and LeBron are gonna have to not miss like ever in that 2-on-2 game because Shaq is moving them, boom, out the way. Everybody getting every rebound.
Well, just so everybody understands, time matters, right? The Dream Team 2 team beat the Dream Team 1 team. You all know that, right?
The what?
Not a lot of people know this. I think they have it on a documentary.
Yeah, there was a documentary that came out a couple months ago, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And you really can't judge Dream Team 1 really even when they did win because Larry Bird wasn't really exactly where he was in his prime, and neither was Magic, even though Magic was still pretty good. In '96, that team had Shaq. It had Grant Hill, these guys were about to explode or already exploded. You weren't going to beat those guys with the old Dream Team. So that's something to consider. What are we talking about here? Are we talking about 2-on-2 with all four of those guys at their peak of their powers? 2001 Kobe and Shaq would have beaten anybody.
Straight up.
Anyone.
Straight
even
up.
Jordan and Pippen in their primes. Like that
Straight
team, and I'll roll with if you still pick the 96 Bulls. But dude, guys, Shaq and Kobe in 01 were the baddest dudes I've ever seen in terms of a duo. Because Pippen, as great as he was never better than Shaq and Kobe at their peak. Never. No matter how good he was. So, whew, that team was nasty, dude. Nasty. We took a vacation for freaking 10 months with that team, man. They lost 2 games that mattered in 10 months between 2 seasons. That's just nuts to me. Again, I've never really ever seen anything like that. As good as 72-10 and a title was for the Bulls, I've never seen a team go 39-2 in 2 seasons like that. 2 losses in 10 months. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever see something like that again.
Man, you know what? I talk to you guys so often, and I've never got can you guys describe to me how it was around that time? I was 1, so clearly I wasn't watching.
This is not a joke. I'm gonna be 100% with you, okay?
Please do.
When I did the research for the 80s, it's arguable. You can argue very clearly that the 80s, as great as the Lakers won 5, the Celtics won 3 in the 80s. By default, from titles, the Lakers were the team of the 80s, and no one really argues that, right? Because they still went to 8 finals that year as well. But you could argue, and you would have an argument here, that the 86 Celtics were the best team in the 80s. They had a Bill Walton who won the 6th Man of the Year award. Larry Bird was the MVP that year. They were a juggernaut in 86. They were bad in a good way, obviously. They were really bad. They were beasts. You could argue that. However, because the Lakers didn't play them in the finals, they got bounced by Houston in the Western Conference Finals. You couldn't really gauge what that year was 100% because of that. And then the 87 team, the 87 Lakers, was their best team of the 80s. That takes usually the precedent in terms of the best team for the Lakers too. They say that 87 team was the best team because of overall record and what they did that year. They beat the Celtics in the finals as well. You have an argument there, but I didn't really live through that. That was just through my research and watching those games, because I have all those games on my device. I've watched all of them, but I wasn't there live to really feel the full impact. 96 Bulls, I was there for all that. I was there for all of 2001. And man, 2017 Warriors, yeah. It's tough to pick between 17 and 16. I know that 16 team lost, but that team was also bad too.
Are you saying you would take that team over the Lakers?
No, I'm saying those are the teams that I have in a category of just pure dominance for an entire year, okay. highest of the highest.
But how was it? How was it watching the 01 Lakers? Was it
it was a vacation. So here's what I loved about them. They encompassed everything that I am. They were. So you look at Shaq, mean as hell. Kobe, mean as hell. Rick Fox, mean as hell. Ori, mean as hell. Fish, he had that mean streak too. Those are your 5, even though Horace Grant started as a power forward, and a little bit of that was also Ron Harper at the beginning of the year until Fish went nuts when he got back from injury in March. That starting 5, Fish, Fox, Ori, or I should say the finishing lineup, Shaq and Kobe, they were the baddest, meanest guys, and they were they just destroyed you. It wasn't even fair. It wasn't like the bad boys, right? It wasn't like the 04 Pistons with Ben Wallace or Ron Artest and those. It wasn't that. These guys, not only were they mean as hell, they were elite. And Shaq and Kobe were elite. And then you had these three guys. One was arguably the most clutch role player in the history of basketball. And then you could argue that D. Fish is a top 10 all-time big game clutch player. And then you had Rick Fox, who was just he might have been pretty, but he was a beast. He was a mean motherfucker too. So
it might have been pretty.
Well, that's what they always said, but
Yeah.
he had an edge. And what it did is it made you feel it made you feel like it made you feel the testosterone on top of the fact that they were so badass. It was the perfect team. My favorite team of all time, my favorite lineup as a Laker fan is that lineup. That lineup was just deadly. You had everything with that lineup.
Yeah, I'm sure. It looked insane, honestly.
They won by 29 and 39 the last two games in that Western Conference Finals against the Spurs. They absolutely took their souls. Now, unfortunately, Tim Duncan took their souls in Game 6 the following year, but unfortunately that happened because too many things happened in the offseason that year, and you all know what some of it was. And yeah, well, actually, not that offseason. That was the following offseason, but there was this, Shaq having to, miss some time. They ended up being a 5th seed that year. I think if they had garnered a 2 or 3 seed, they might have had a better chance at being a little bit less stressed to get to the Spurs, maybe in the Western Conference Finals versus the second round.
Once again, Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro, John Costa, and me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening to the Lakers win 107-96. Even though they're tied in the loss column with, of course, Houston, Memphis, and Denver. Lakers, because they haven't played as many games, they're back in 5th place in the Western Conference. But, John, they could be making up some ground, starting with the back-to-back. Another back-to-back as they play against San Antonio, a team that is now, after losing Fox and Wembanyama, fully into tank mode. Do you think Luka plays tomorrow? Because we're hoping that he was going to play in Denver, but that did turn out to be the case. He's at least home. How available does he and some of these others Lakers need to be before Rui and LeBron? Oh, by the way, it looks like you're going to win that bet, by the way, for LeBron, because he looks like he's coming back in about a week. Rui, maybe even sooner, according to Shams Charania. But as these guys get healthier, how vital is it for them to be available for all these back-to-back games?
Very vital, Joe. Very vital, Gerald. And thank you very much, because you reminded me of the bet. Earlier, I was thinking like, man, I had a bet. I'm trying to remember what bet it was. And
you know who it was with, right?
It was with I Speak the Truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I speak the truth, my brother. Hey, $100. It was $100. you said bet $100. LeBron James is not going to return till playoffs, and I was like, oh, for sure, bet that he'll definitely be back before playoffs. So, brother, I'll be waiting on that. But in the meantime, so thank you for that, Gerald. In the meantime, to answer your question, Gerald, I would like to believe we could get a win even without Luka Doncic tomorrow, especially against the Spurs, without no Wemby, without no De'Aaron Fox, and them being in tank mode. I would like to believe so, but I would like to also stay on the side of like caution. So if I'm the Lakers, if Luka's good enough to play, play. Let's try to put these boys out quarters 1 through 3, or put them out even earlier, and then just keep them at arm's length and be able to let Luka rest. Because what I'm really looking forward to is, well, not looking forward to, but what I'm like really, going to be locked in for is the the 2 back-to-backs here that we have, and then that being the Nuggets and the Bucks. Like, that's just going to be 2, I think, just tough games in general. So to me, I'd rather have Luka, ready to go and locked in for that back-to-back. So that's how I'm feeling with that. But yeah, thanks for the reminder though, Gerald. I
gotta make sure that money's coming into you. That sure money. Joe, again, we talked about this with Luka and all that, as far as not doing the back-to-back after he scored 45 and didn't make it the next day to Denver. They kept him out. What are your thoughts? He did get hurt again with his ankle. He had a shoe off during the time that he was away, but he did come back to the game. Do you think they hold him out tomorrow against San Antonio?
No. You can't. No, the holding on is done. Those days are gone. They have 16 games left. They have to get the 2 seed. They have to get the 2 seed. If they have any shot, and not even the 3 seed, we'll as a fan base, we'll deal with whatever comes. Obviously, we don't have a choice, but this has to be. You have to get the 2. You have to get the 2. We cannot. There cannot be a risk. You have 16 games left. There's 8 at home, 8 on the road. That means you probably have to win all your home games and then win half your road games at this point. 12-4 should get them. So 12-4 puts them at 53 wins. Yeah, 12-4 puts them at 53 wins.
That's right on that where we were talking about, because we said 55
we
would
said
definitely
55
get
would probably guarantee him a 2, but there's been some losses by Denver that I didn't expect.
It's like that right on that line, you know.
Yeah, and then then Houston started playing really well, and Memphis is playing well as well. Well, not it's weird. Memphis had a good few games, but they're still 5-5 the last 10 games.
No Joker's asking why is it important to hit the 2 seed. We touched on this, but if you want to refresh people's memory, just the importance of having as many home games for a team that plays really a whole lot better at home, like the Lakers, is imperative. We have seen what happens when the Lakers have to go on the road, and it's just a matter of when, not if, Joe.
This team doesn't really, you saw tonight or today, you see the Colocos, you see the DFSs, as hard as DFS is playing, as much as hard as Coloco can play, there's major deficiencies in those guys' game. You have to take advantage of the home opportunities as much as possible, because those guys don't typically play well in hostile environments. So the more home games you have, the better you have control of that. There's little things that guys like Coloco don't do, or things that DFS don't do. Like you never see them do the fundamentals. You don't see, like, you see a lot of butter on their hands. That's what happens because they're focused on, and this is not just them, this is in general. Like, I've played in my time where you're not focused on the basics. You fumble the ball too much. You're not paying attention to the little things, and your body's a certain way. Like, there's a lot of little things that have to happen in those instances, and they got to be instinct filled. DFS, Coloco, especially the Colocos of the world, they're not playing 30, 40 minutes a game to really hone in on those things. They're not, unfortunately, good enough to play those kind of minutes. And they're just now getting into kind of who they're going to be on this team. DFS has only been a Laker, 2.5 months? So when we talk about the Lakers are probably going to be better off when they get this season over with, so they can acquire the correct talent and have a training camp. These are the things that you work on. These are the things that are going to be imperative to not having to worry about a simple ball in your hand and all of a sudden it's like slipping off. Guys like Vanderbilt doesn't play enough to hone in on those things. He's always either injured half the year, or that's a lot of stuff. That's why availability is such a huge thing here. Why has Reeves improved so much, guys? Would you say he's improved, Gerald, this year?
Reeves?
Yeah, a little bit from his game.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, a little bit. Opportunity is also, he's taken advantage of it. And the fact that D'Lo being traded, you talked about that, just freed up some opportunities for him. But those months, I think that month that he was the main ball handler before Luka coming onto the team, I really think that will benefit him in the long run. I don't think he should always be a main ball handler, at least from what I've seen going forward. I don't think you're going to, it's not best for him. He's still best in a secondary playmaker role, Joe. But that time, he was able to develop his game by, because he had to. It was not a necessity. They said, we're going to give you the ball. We're not going to go ahead and put as much usage on LeBron. We're going to go ahead and work you to death, which they did in January, if you remember, Joe. And I think ultimately on the other side, he's going to come out better as a better player for it. Whether or not he's going to stay with the Lakers, whether or not you think he's going to be a good fit for the Lakers going forward, I'll leave that up to you guys. But remember, he does have a fat payday on the other side that you would have to worry about, whether or not you want to go ahead and have him still, be on this team or utilize in a trade, Joe. I'll leave that up to you guys.
I would say
that's a difficult question. It's just going to be put.
I'm not really going to worry too much about that. The Lakers
not right now.
Yeah, the Lakers have had a habit of paying players what they're worth on this team. It's a history of theirs as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that being a problem. If AR continues to play with the way he's playing, you can't lose that asset unless it's for a legitimate third star.
Yeah.
It would have to be not of a Giannis ilk, although that would be an obvious one. It would have to be something. Who would be a third star that would be attainable?
It has to be someone that's probably not on a $40+ million contract. Maybe 40 you could reach it, but at a $55 million contract, like Giannis, for instance. Giannis,
yeah, that player. I'm thinking that I would say Zion, but he's not available enough.
Does he work with LeBron? Well, though you saw LeBron and Luka, they work out. I don't know if that was the perfect fit for those guys. But they could make it work. I think they can make it work.
I'm trying to figure out a star more than anything. I'm not trying to figure out. Okay, let me just use this as an example, even though this is not possible. Like if they were going to get a De'Aaron Fox, as amazing as AR has been for this team. If you say, hey, we want AR for De'Aaron Fox, you take that deal. De'Aaron Fox with Luka and LeBron, holy crap. Now you have
for instance, Kevin Durant. You can't do a Kevin Durant because he's cost over $50 million.
He's a star, but that's also Jalen Suggs works too, Brian, because he's kind of budding. He's a budding star, possibly.
And he's such a great defender.
Yeah, JJ, Triple J, yeah, out of Memphis. That could be that guy too. But bigs are. I would stay away from bigs who are making 30-40 million a year unless
would you do like an Austin Reeves for a Suggs and maybe one of their bigs like an Isaac or probably big like a Patazzi or something. I initially
thought Sabonis would be a good idea, but then I actually sat down the last few days and I was thinking about that. I go, I don't think this league will allow you to have a big other than Jokic to really put you to the next level. You got to have that perimeter kind of presence. It might be why, and we'll see if Oklahoma City proves that wrong. But I'm basing it off of what the Celtics did and what Dallas did last year, because Minnesota had a big, they got smoked. Denver had a big, they got smoked when it mattered. Like there's this thing with bigs these days that there's something that gets away from them in these big games because of how perimeter heavy and perimeter primary the league has turned into. And I don't want to put $30-40 million in a big. I'd rather put that in a elite perimeter player. That's kind of how I look at it. Because De'Aaron Fox is a better shooter than AR, and he can get to the basket quicker than AR. He would be an upgrade. And imagine remember when I was telling you about how press coverage is a problem? Well, imagine having De'Aaron Fox coming back for that ball. Now you have to deal with him one-on-one. And then he's not a bad passer either. It becomes a major headache. If you had backtracked to like 2005, hell yeah, you go get a big with guys like LeBron and Luka. But the NBA is just so perimeter centric.
Yeah.
You want to put that money towards guys that are good, even if the guy, because a positionless lineup, which is what the NBA has become, allows that to be a better fit. having somebody like Steven Adams, exactly as it KO?
Yeah. Well, you don't need 15 million added. No, he barely plays 15 minutes
Well,
on the
I'm
Rockets.
using him as an example. Like, you want someone like that at the
Yeah.
position with
Well,
a full arsenal behind him. That's
yeah, if you get him on
preferably how
the
you want to do
cheap,
it.
if you get him for the minimum or maybe the buy level exception at 6 or 7 million, I could see that. But 15 million for a guy like that who's seen better years, who doesn't play every game for Houston, I don't know.
Well, Suggs making 30 is actually a bargain if he's playing with Luka, because Suggs' game is going to improve playing with Luka.
Because he doesn't have to worry about the ball handling as much.
Exactly. So you can stick him on any number one guy, and he can still score. I mean, he's still dropping what? Last time I checked, in the high teens. So imagine this. You have a legitimate perimeter dog, and Suggs is young, isn't he? He's like 25.
Under that, yeah. Because remember, he came out.
Oh my God, he's 23. Holy shit,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
That's the guy. That's who you want. If you had a choice, I would trade AR for Suggs in a minute. I thought he was 25. I didn't know he was 23. Jesus, that's even better.
Because he came out at 20.
Yeah. And being around LeBron
19.
maybe another year or two, those are the guys that, I think that would work.
All right.
Yeah, but is he overrated? Come on, guys. De'Aaron Fox is overrated? Is that true? He's not overrated, guys. Come on. You want to say that won't work? I'll buy that one. But don't say he's overrated. He's not overrated. Come on.
He's a clutch player. He's got the statistics to back it up. He's lightning fast. I don't know about that. Jalen Johnson,
overrated.
yeah. Jalen Johnson, yeah, great player, Sam, but yeah, Atlanta is building their future around him more so than Trae Young, in my opinion, or they will be. Kamara, Portland is not giving up Kamara. They stole him from the Suns. There is no way that they're going to go ahead and give up on Kamara at this point. No, Freedom Agent. They would not give
it. BTS, you just lost that. I was going to give you I was going to lay off you on the overrated part, but come on. Dude.
Yeah.
Reeves is not better than Tatum. Come on, wake up.
Portland is not giving
you're messing
up
with
Kamara.
us. I think I know you're messing with us. I'm not.
You guys are crazy.
I'm not going to give you any more attention on that.
We're gonna have to. Fox is overrated. You're saying, well, you're a Sacramento fan. I get it. I understand. Obviously, you haven't seen the results with Fox that you would have liked, so I understand that. But man, if you would like a 25 point a game, one of the quickest players in the league, clutch player. Yeah, he's not great on 3-pointers. I get that. So there are holes in his game. So again, I'll leave that up to you. But he's playing on San Antonio for the foreseeable future. So Kamara for Connect, no. Portland is not doing a Kamara deal, Freedom Angel. Stop it. They will not give up. They will not take Connect for Kamara. They got a bona fide steal in Kamara. They have a starting player for years to come in Kamara, and they got him for nothing in that Nurkic trade. There is no way you're getting Kamara. That is how much important. I've heard this already with some Portland fans. They absolutely love Kamara. There's no way they're going to give him up for Connect, or unless you're going to throw a bigger star name, then we go. Then they'll talk from there, I'm sure. But Joe, it's been some great conversations. I think we're going to go ahead and head out early because we've got a busy week. Because there's still a lot of games left to play for this week, back to back, and then by the way, another back to back. How about there, Scoop?
Freedom.
I like Scoop, BTS. I like Scoop, but he has got to be more consistent. He's just all over the place. He's got so much talent, though, but he's all over the place. Go ahead, Joe.
So Kamara for Connect?
Portland won't do it. I do it, but Portland won't do it. I would do it, but Portland won't do it. Kamara's just, Joe, Kamara has been such a great pleasure for them. It's like you got that throw-in. Like I don't want to say Shannon Brown deal, but even better than that. But it's just that throw in that just beyond your expectations.
I don't know, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
Portland
yet.
isn't going to do it anyways. Portland, I don't know why we're even discussing this because Portland's not even going to do
Well, I'm just looking at it from a talent standpoint.
it. Someone, you were right. I have seen Kamara legit guard 1 through 5. So, and he can score. That's the thing. He can score. He's playing well for them in Portland. I'll just say.
The thing is, he's.
They're going to try to attach a grant. If you want to do that Freedom Angel, which I wouldn't argue with either which way.
Kamara's stats are very similar to Connect when they are playing the same amount of minutes.
But Kamara's a much better defender. That's the only thing, Joe. But Connect is a better 3-point shooter. So it's
I'm going to need a couple more years on that one, guys, because they're essentially same age.
Both rookies. Yeah. They're both still just starting out.
And I don't get a chance to see him play as much. Maybe my mind would change. I just don't see enough Portland games to really know.
I don't blame you. I can.
Let me. You know what? Let me do some research on that one, bud. Freedom. Let me look at that one a little bit. I'll the next time the Portland Trailblazers are on TV, I'll look at some things.
Quabina, you were right on Cam Whitmore. He will probably want to ask out at some point in time because he can't play in that mix because he can score with the best of them, but he is just not it's a defense. It's just like Connect. His defense is his detriment and his focus and attention to the game. But Cam Whitmore is probably going to go somewhere else and probably will probably be traded in the off season. Is my guess, but yeah, tough. So, and what about Hayes? He is getting so good now. So let's close out because I have got to head on out. But before we do, just let us know what your thoughts. Jaxson Hayes, 19 points, 8 and 9. Good to have him back. You just see what happens when you have that pick and roll threat back for Luka.
Yes, he's going to play a huge role should the Lakers get the seeding that we hope they get, and he might be part of the future as well, which he'll have to make a decision on what he wants to do there. I think the NBA is pretty smart. They know what needs to get done with him being valuable. You need somebody like Luka there. So my ultimate, to kind of look at this from a now and later standpoint, my hope is he continues to play well and is a factor in their run this year. And then when the offseason comes, he signs and understands that he has the ability to be the best backup big man in the NBA. That would be his ideal role on a juggernaut team, because if the Lakers can get a legitimate center that can start and he's the backup, his career will flourish well, and he'll be a Laker and he'll win titles in LA doing that. So I hope he understands that.
We'll see what happens, but tomorrow it is the San Antonio Spurs. That is an actual evening game, guys. So we go back to the evening record for the Lakers as they play tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. I know some of you guys on the Eastern Coast or around the world are saying, oh, back to the late games. But what can we say? It is what it is. But we'll be back on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. And then, of course, the post game right here at Lakers Fast
Brian,
Break.
I think the reason why is because LeBron is a true hybrid in terms of how he plays point forward, whereas this is going to sound weird for a lot of you LeBron fans, but Luka controls the pace in the ball better than LeBron. He's not a point guard. Luka's a legit point guard. So he feels and sees things a little different. LeBron is a controlled freight train. He can distribute, and he's been great at that. But Luka's better at making the millisecond decisions as a point guard than LeBron.
But you also, the fact that those two play differently. How many years were we saying they need to implement and run the pick and roll with LeBron and AD a lot more than they did? Because it would be so much more effective. And LeBron is just not that type. He doesn't fall in
It's
love.
not
It
his
doesn't.
fault. Yeah, it's not his fault.
It's just not his play. It's just not who he is. He
LeBron
runs it,
is-
but he
yeah.
doesn't run it enough.
LeBron's job, in my view, is to get to the basket. He is he is the greatest when you factor in size, ball handling ability, and effectiveness at the rim. There's never been anyone better. Never. He's too big, can control the ball too much, and that 2 foot, 1 foot, 0 foot layup to the basket is why that's why he is who he is. That's the greatest weapon he's ever had that he's ever had. And it's difficult when that's what he has to do, because other than Kyrie in his career, to some degree, I don't know who else was a really good shooter that he played with. I'm talking about star, because Wade wasn't a good shooter.
No,
He really didn't have anybody.
no.
So he had to be that guy. That's why he turned into
The only good shooters were like role players.
Yeah, they were role players, and I'm talking about like legitimate set, like star with him that can shoot. You're Luka's the probably Luka. Let's say he's tied with Kyrie at the very least. I trust Kyrie to. I'm sorry. I trust Luka more in those moments than I do Kyrie by a hair. So I think LeBron is playing with the best shooter he's ever played with in his career. Ray Allen wasn't Ray Allen, though. He was a role player on that Heat team. If it was Ray Allen in 2008, yes. Ray Allen was a role player at that point, kind of like Jason Kidd and when they won the title when Dallas won in 2011. That wasn't Jason Kidd 2002, 2003. That was kind of at the end of his career player.
And we've answered this quite a bit, Jaxson. Yes, we can beat it. We just have too much size. Our front line is much better than the Golden State Warriors front line. And then Luka versus, even if Luka versus Curry is a wash point wise, all around wise, the Lakers just have too much as far as for what Golden State can handle. All right. On that note, it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. The Lakers win today, getting back on the groove as far as the win column is concerned, 107-96. We'll be back tomorrow for more fun and hijinks on our playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break live channel. Go ahead and follow along the scoreboard and chat with us on YouTube or playback. Still trying to work out the kinks for Facebook. I know there's been issues, so I do apologize for that for all of our Facebook viewers. And don't forget to join us. If you've got a bracket you want to fill out on ESPN, go ahead and join us, the Lakers Fast Break group right there, so you can go ahead with us and be part of the tournament challenge on ESPN. Free of charge right there. Go ahead and pick your brackets today. Right there. The link is in the description below. And hopefully you will join us right there at the Lakers Fast Break. So for Joe Soro and John Costa, Clutch Talk on Lakers Corner, Joe Soro from Simblades, and also as well, Crypt and LakersBall.com. It's me, Joe Glassford. Thanks again for listening and watching. We'll be back tomorrow for more fun right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.
All right, G. I'll see you tomorrow.
You got it, my friend.
I'll talk to you later.